And to discuss Turkey's threat perception in northern Syria, I'm joined by Omer Aslan. He's a professor of national security at the Turkish National Police Academy. Thank you for joining us from Ankara, Omer.
Thanks for having me.
Omer, why does the US consider the YPG as part of the SDF to be such an effective fighting force against Daesh in Raqqa?
Actually, it has been an effective force, in quotation marks, maybe I should put it. Has been through the US Air Force and US Air Support, actually. And this is, so the SDF has been an effective fighting force on the ground, largely thanks to the US Air Force, which first bombed different places where an operation has been going on, and only then, after the city has been largely bombed, then the SDF comes and sort of clears the ground. And that is actually, so the way that this has been going with the SDF operations inside Syria has been established by different groups, different think tanks and different groups that have been watching the conflict in Syria, such as International Crisis Group, for example. So the SDF has been an effective force, largely thanks to the US air support and different sort of support given to it by, of course, the US first and foremost.
What would you say then to the Turkish assertion that if the US had supplied weapons and trainings to other groups like the FSA, Free Syrian Army, and its factions, that they too could have been effective against Daesh?
They could have. I mean, if the US support was consistent and it was actually given to these groups in a steady manner, and if they were given different weapons, or the weapons and all the instruments that have been given, military instruments given to the SDF, they could have been a force, of course. I mean, I'm not rejecting the argument that there has been differences and divisions within those opposition groups beside the SDF, but that wasn't the cause of their being sort of weak on the ground. The main reason was that I think due to different sort of power balances within American organization, within American agencies on the ground, I mean, State Department, the Pentagon, and their preferences, I think, the SDF was sort of chosen and cherry-picked to be a fighting force on the ground. But that doesn't, again, mean that the other groups couldn't have been, but the same level of support was not sort of given to them.
One of the fears that the Turkish leadership has expressed to us is that these weapons and the training that the Americans have provided to the YPG may end up being used against Turkish forces, because the Turkish government doesn't see any difference between the YPG and the PKK. Are Turkish concerns then justified?
They are justified, and it's not that those weapons given to the YPG may end up inside Turkey, used by the PKK against Turkish soldiers and the police, but they are actually being used. There is the PKK franchise being established in Turkey, Syria, Iran, and Iraq, so that is the solid threat against Turkey. Solid threat, by solid threat I mean, so there is a terrorist organization that has now increased its capability due to basically the weaponry and training given by the US and perhaps other Western states. But beside the solid, I mean, the threat on the ground, there is also the ideological threat, not only to Turkey but to other countries as well. Because the idea of democratic autonomy, democratic confederalism, all the new sort of, I mean, these ideas that sound good, but have been proven otherwise, that have not been proven in Syria. These are the ideological, I think, challenges to Turkey and maybe perhaps even the other states, because our understanding of democracy now has been negated in Syria, and that somehow this negation of our understanding of democracy now somehow finds support, given support by the West.
Omer Aslan, thank you for joining us from Ankara.